Hello, everybody. So, being a consultant versus being a sales guy, which one should you be? I recommend my teams always to be consultants, letting the customer choose versus selling something onto the customer. It's a big difference. Genuinely helping the customer has to be the intent for a long-term win-win versus always trying to focus on selling something to the customer. So let's talk about the difference between what does it take to be a consultant versus a sales guy through examples that all of us must be able to relate. So assume you walk into a multi-brand mobile phone showroom to purchase a mobile phone. So you walk in, case one, there comes a sales rep. Um, he welcomes you, he greets you, and he says, "Dear madam, dear sir, what are you here for today?" And you say, "No, I'm looking for a cell phone upgrade." And then he goes in, he asks for, "May I know what budget are you looking to upgrade the mobile phone or the cell phone?" And you probably tell him it's about $1,000. So he goes back, digs a shelf, comes back to you, presents four different categories of cell phones. And then he does a great job of explaining to you all the features and options that each of these cell phones have. Um, Now you're well aware of which one has probably slightly bigger battery and so on. So he's done a fantastic job explaining to you all the features and benefits that each of these four models has. Now, case two, coming down to the scenario again, you walk into a multi-branded cell phone showroom. There comes a consultant. He welcomes you, he greets you, and then he asks, "What are you here for?" And you tell him, "I'm here to buy a cell phone." Then he asks you, "May I know the reason behind you trying to upgrade your cell phone? May I know the current cell phone that you have?" And you probably tell him it's an iPhone 10 or iPhone 11, whichever one that you have. Then he goes, "May I know the reason you're trying to upgrade? Are you looking for a cell phone with a better camera? Are you looking for a cell phone with better battery backup? Are you looking for a cell phone with a bigger screen? May I know the needs that you have from your cell phone? Is it predominantly going to be for a day-to-day usage? Are you a vlogger? Do you need it for videos as well? How important is photography for you? Can you help me understand a little bit about your typical usage on your cell phone?" And then you probably tell him, "You know what, I'm not into gaming. I need a cell phone with better battery backup for sure. Larger screen would help, and certainly better camera. Not a photographer or a vlogger, but I just need to have a better camera from the cell phone." Now he goes back to the shelf. He comes back with the four models. These are essentially the same four models that the other salesperson had come to you as well with. That's because these are the models that the shop has, right? But now he explains to you all these four models. He says, "You know what? One of these model has two of the three requirements that you need from a cell phone. The other one has three of the four requirements that you have from the cell phone. Here's the one that meets all of your requirements, which is larger screen, better battery backup, great camera, easy to hold. It's a pretty good model. But then you know what? Here's a fourth one, which has all the four requirements that you have from a cell phone, plus it actually has more. It has a slightly bigger screen than you want. It has the most advanced processor. It has a larger memory. It has a highly capable display. You know what? I would recommend you, if you have the budget, um, slightly more than what you mentioned, roughly about $1,000, then I would recommend you to go with this phone, because if you stick to your budget today, which is $1,000, and go with the option three that I presented, your needs are fulfilled, but then you might see a need for an upgrade rather soon. But if you have the ability to stretch your budget maybe by 20% and go to the $1,200 cell phone that I'm recommending, you probably don't have to upgrade your cell phone for the next 2 years to come or 3 years to come. So the choice is yours, dear customer. Now, if you want to go with um, strictly what you need for now, this $1,000 phone will do well. But I would recommend if you can slightly stretch it by about 20%, you have everything that you need for now, plus the future proof for at least next 3 years. That way, the additional $200 you're paying puts you future proof. This is the model that's most advanced right now, so you can continue to use it for the next 2 to 3 years to come. Now, question one, which sales guy would you buy from? Would you buy from the sales guy, who's the case one, or would you buy from the consultant, the case two, right? So it's the same product, it's the same showroom. There's no change in product in this case. It's just the way the consultant or a sales guy approached the customer, made the customer feel that what's important for them now, and should they be considering a future-proof purchase decision, and then making them realize or think about what do they really need with this purchase, right? And then most importantly, letting them choose versus the sales guy is jumping the gun and making the decision for the customer and pushing that option down to the customer, right? So being a consultant always helps to genuinely help the customer with the problem or the objective that they're trying to achieve. In doing so, you have won the customer now for a lifetime versus just one transaction, right? Now, another great example that we can think of is the credit card calls or bank loan calls that we all get every day, right? So most of us possibly, the first thing when we hear, hey, I'm calling from XYZ Bank. Do you have a need for credit card? We probably put our phone down and say, you know what, I'm good. Don't bother calling me back, right? Is there anything differently that these guys can do? They're typically trying to be a sales guy. The moment you pick the phone, they're saying, you know what, calling you from a bank, I'm calling you from a credit card agency, would you be interested in one? The connect rates are the lowest. It's hard for them to actually connect and even have a conversation beyond 30, 60 seconds with a prospect in this space. Now, being a consultant in the same approach, they'll have to do a little more research about the audience that they're trying to call, the age group, the demographics, and so on, which is pretty easy in today's social world. And they have to do a little bit of fact finding as to the kind of statistics, such as, assuming you're getting a credit call, and then you pick up the phone, and the person on the other side goes, hey sir, how are you doing today? Can I have quick 2 minutes? I just want to share with you some interesting stats about a survey that was recently conducted between the folks that fall between the age group of 30 to 35 living in New York City. Just wanted to, some interesting stats from the survey. Just wanted to share with you. Can pick 2 minutes? And you probably would say yes, because you fall into that age group and you live in New York City. You're curious as to what the survey is about. And then the guy says, you know what, the survey is about the financial independence and finance management of folks between the age group of 30 to 35 living in New York City. And do you know, sir, people with more than three credit cards living in New York in this age group have a lot more financial freedom and have better savings and investment just by using their credit cards effectively versus folks with less than three credit cards or no credit cards. So the fourth credit card onwards gives them um, fabulous flexibility in terms of their finance planning and management, thus helping them with better savings and investment just by rotating the credit cards and moving the funds around. By the way, sir, how many credit cards do you have? And then you probably tell them how many ever do you have. If you have less, then if he says, you know what, so would you mind if you're in need of an additional credit card, would you mind if I have my business development team call you, or I can probably take up your requirement and have somebody reach out to you and help assist you with some of the best credit cards out there. Is that okay? Right now, in essence, in this case, the person who's a consultant succeeded in having this conversation beyond 30 seconds with you. He put forth what he had to offer. Now he made you think that credit card as a financial tool versus credit card as a burden. Now, how effectively could you use and actually help you with investments and savings and so on, rather than actually, utilizing your cash. You can actually use your credit cards and so on, right? Now, if you're really in need for it, I'm sure this is the person that you would put up your credit card application with. Now, I always tell this to all my sales teams: never sell to a customer that doesn't require what you're selling, but always make sure if a customer needs what you're selling, you should be the one the customer should buy from, which essentially means that we should never push forward or push down our products and solutions to a customer that doesn't really need us, right? But at the same time, if the customer is in need of what we're trying to offer, we should be the best consultant out there and genuinely trying to help the customer with the problem that they have or the objective that they're trying to achieve. And in turn, you have the customer for life. And never look for quick bucks, never look for a transaction. Always look at helping the customer genuinely, and you have the customer for life. And it is a win win. The more we help the customers, the more they try and be with us forever. And that's how you build relationships. So I think that's a little bit about being a typical sales guy, pushing down the customer's throat, versus being a consultant and genuinely letting the customer choose, which is the key. Don't choose for your customers, let them choose, offer them the best options that you have. And for you to do that, the first thing that you need to understand is not your budget, perhaps the problem that they have or the objective that they're trying to achieve. And so you can then go back and present to them what you have to offer that helps them solve the problem or achieve the objective that they have. And let them choose the one they think is the best option for them. Okay. Thanks a lot. Cheers.